Sky Blackwell, Eternal Authenticity. I'm out here in nature. Yes, I just finished doing a previous podcast a few minutes ago, but the podcast ended because my phone overheated. Noisy airplanes. Noisy airplanes flying around. But yeah, I'm out here in nature enjoying myself. Give thanks, click the like button. And yes, stay prayed up. Do the right thing, stay focused, stay hydrated, stay elevated, stay motivated, stay elevated, stay uplifted, stay uplifted in your life. Don't be consumed by fear. A lot of people, they want to try to pull you in these fearful energies, these distractions, these energies. So, you got to ignore people's opinions. You got to ignore people's, outer perceptions, people's labels or judgments they have towards you because, really, these people don't even matter. You know what I mean? People can think whatever, people can talk whatever, but at the end of the day, how are you contributing to my bank account? You know what I mean? How are you contribute? How are you adding money to my bank account? You know what I mean? So like you gotta ignore haters, ignore the devil. You know what I mean? They could think whatever, they can, talk whatever, but at the end of the day, you can't harm a child of God. I'm unstoppable. I'm untouchable because God favors me. So you gotta always know that. You gotta always believe that. You know, you can't be distracted by, clowns, snakes, people that's trying to pull you off your path, people that's, they have bad energy, they have wicked energy. They're gonna be punished. They're gonna suffer the consequences. So it's not a game, it's not a joke. So always keep your heart in a righteous place. Choose to elevate above, the hate, elevate above the drama, elevate above the fakes. Fake people, they're always going to be at the bottom. They're always going to be losing. They're always going to be hiding, because they're fake, but if you're real, there's peace. There's peace, there's harmony, there's cooperation, there's good vibes, positive energy for the real people, because we know God is our savior, God is our protector, but you got to make sure you ignore the critics, ignore all of the lost souls. So thank y'all. Much love. Sky Blackwell, turn off authenticity. I'm about to charge up. My phone's getting low on battery. Sky Blackwell, turn authenticity. I'll see you in the next video.